Alright guys, so today we're going to be making frogs. Little bass poppers are basically what we're making. So we've got a little popper head here. What we're going to do is we're just going to slide this onto our hook right over the top. And then what we're going to want to do is make kind of a rough thread base underneath it that's somewhat thick, just to give it some traction. And then you should also accompany this with some super glue. Alright, so make your thread base nice and thick. I like to put a bit of a head up here to give this popper head something to kind of sit up against. And then I like to do kind of a bulge in the middle as well, just to kind of lock it into place. Boom. And then we'll just whip finish really quick. Slide that on. Then reattach your thread right behind that. Alright, so once you got the head installed, and keep in mind you should be putting super glue in here as well. I won't be doing that just because I don't have any. So bring your thread back to right about the barb there, and then we're going to tie in some legs. So what we're using for the legs are kind of a chartreuse green, I think it's a grizzly hackle. So you're gonna have that be just a hair longer than the overall hook, and you're gonna come in here. I use 2 feathers. You come in here, tie these in with 2 wraps, rotate them to where you want them, pull them in, and then lock them down. I like to leave somewhat of a tail there because we're also going to be doing a second set here for the other side. And I think once you do that, it's once you do that, it kind of evens out the body a bit. So we tie in our second pair of legs here. Fasten it all down, and you can kind of pull your legs sideways a bit just to splay them out. And if you want to kind of secure those a little bit better and splay them out a little more, you can do a little X pattern here. You can just cross thread this And you do a little X pattern on that. It'll kind of hold those apart. If you snag any fibers, don't worry too much about them, because we're going to be doing a hackle body on this as well. So it's going to end up disappearing into the hackle body either way. So next thing you do, select 2 of the longer hackle pieces. And just like with the legs, we're gonna stack them. But this time we're gonna tie them tip first. So grab those tips, kind of pull those fibers back a bit. Trim the tips off. Alright, once you have those feathers installed, we'll actually do a couple more securing wraps. Alright, so once you have those installed, you're going to make a dubbing loop. Bring your thread forward. Alright, and at this point I like to half hitch my thread, and then I throw my thread up front here. And that kind of just makes things easier overall for the hackle and the dubbing loop here. So we're going to use, again, chartreuse ice dub, or any sort of a green dubbing. I mean, these bass poppers you can play around with quite a bit. So I'm going to be using pretty on-spot color. It's just a green, just a chartreuse. And we're going to keep this dubbing loop somewhat loose. Keep it somewhat loose. To make a really picky body. Because we're going to be going over this body with our hackle fibers. So you're going to want the dubbing loop to be somewhat touching turns. Really stack it in there. Create a nice thick body. And then bring it right up to that head. And I like to kind of just stack it up on that head. And we're going to secure this. Trim the dubbing loop off. Then after you've trimmed the dubbing loop, just to secure it a little bit better, I'll do a 3-wrap whip finish to secure it again. Then we'll lay that line up front. I'm gonna rotate back to the top. Now, with these hackle fibers, you want to build a really thick body. However, I've noticed that if you do kind of a spaced out, if you separate your turns a little bit, you still get a thick body, but you don't have to preen the fibers as much. And another reason that that's cool is because you also get to see that shiny body that you made. Alright, get up to the head, and then we just kind of stack it in the head. Alright, once you get it nice and stacked, so you can kind of see how I spread out substantially more in the back, and then I really just stacked it in the front. Alright. Whenever securing hackle fibers in this way, I like to do like 4, maybe 5 securing wraps, just because if it were to not be tight enough, then you'd end up having your hackle fibers loosen up on you, and that's just no good. It's no good for your fly. Beauty. I love it. Alright. So that's the base of the fly. After that, we're gonna use some silly legs, some chartreuse silly legs, to kind of finish her off. If you want to put eyes on it, you can put eyes on it. However, you could also just take Sharpie and draw eyes on it. But we're not going to put eyes on it because I don't think it really matters much. Alright, so you're going to go to the bottom side of this head, and you're just going to take your awl here, and you're going to pierce it through. Try and get it even. Alright. And once you've made that hole, you're going to take your bobbin threader, and you're going to feed your bobbin threader through that hole. Just like that. Nice and easy. Once you've got that, here are the silly legs, crazy legs. I think you can also get them, they're called like tarantula legs. I don't know, it's just rubber legs. That's all you're looking for. We're going to do a little knot on one end, and then you're going to take the other end, put the other end into your threader, start pulling that through. Nice and slow, nice and gentle. You are stretching the heck out of that rubber. So, nice and slow. Pull it through till the leg dimensions are right about right there on the side you tied, and then pull it through a little bit further, and then come to the other side, tie a knot. After you've tied that knot, go ahead and pull it back through, even it out, and then just trim to about anywhere between a 1/4 and an 1/8 of an inch away from that knot. And then those are going to be your legs. So places you can put head cement or UV resin should be right on the thread that you secured here. And then you should put some super glue underneath the popper head. But other than that, super glue is not really needed. Boom. Quick bass popper. Thanks.